All right, continuing on with memorization. So there's 5 memorization rules that I like to look at, and those are you take notes if you can. If you can write them down, especially if you can't, you take them in your mind, in your memory. You use identifiers, details, direction, and order facts logically. So math rule number 1, notes. So going back to here, so the 5 memorization rules. So now I'm identifying notes. If the candidate's allowed to take notes, take notes. Often, though, the notes are strictly forbidden, as officers find themselves in situations all the time where you can't utilize notes, you have to utilize your memory. Therefore, the candidate must practice holding notes in their memory only. And the only way to improve in this is to practice. All right, math 2, identifier. So going back here again, we're on the second one, which is identifier of the 5 memorization rules. So there's many types of identifiers, such as a street address or license plate number, or the number of people, or age, or gender, or number of vehicles in a photo. There's signs, business signs, buildings. You can kind of tell a story in your head. That's how we really remember. If you tried to think about something in the past that's occurred, we identify it with stories that have occurred. If I try to ask you, when was the last time that you did a math problem, you probably wouldn't know. But if I tried to ask you, when was the last time you went out with a whole group of people or to a party, again, we identify with stories. All right, next, details. So what can be summarized? What do you see? What are people wearing? Are people happy, sad? Again, you're telling a story. You're playing a movie in your head. Directions. Which way are the people facing? Which way are the vehicles facing? Where are the businesses? How is everything located? And then finally, order facts logically. So there's many ways to do this. And again, the easiest way is to tell a story. All right, police forms now. We're into the police forms, policies, procedures, and legal definitions. So study common crime definitions. So for example, you should know the difference between a burglary and a robbery. Do you? Burglary is, you don't have to be home when it happens. It's a breaking in of a vehicle or a home of any type or building, and it's with intent to steal something. So they want to steal your TV or your jewelry or money. Robbery is where the person comes up and threatens you with a gun, and they say, give me your purse or give me your wallet and your watch and your jewelry, or I'm going to shoot you. So that's a robbery. So know the difference between your common crime definitions. And what you do is, as you study them, time yourself and then have 20 crime definitions sitting out, just the heading of it, like burglary, robbery, theft, and then go through and time yourself speaking out loud and stating what the definition is of that common crime. Okay, so here's some standard crime definitions. These are really common crimes: arson, assault, battery, burglary, domestic violence, forgery. I highly recommend you look up the standard crime definitions. Again, it's going to vary from jurisdiction. Know these, understand these, because it's going to help you on the test. All right, now we're on to police report writing. So every open sentence of a police report should include the date, time, and location. We need to know where and when you are. We need to know who the officer is writing the report, or who else is out there as well, and the nature of the call incident. So for example, just right off the top of my head, I've written so many police reports, but I would say, on Monday, August 1st of 2019 at approximately 12:30 hours. We do everything in military, so we always know what time, if it's AM or PM, without having to put AM or PM. At approximately 12:30 hours, I responded to Southern Oregon University at 1250 Siskiyou Boulevard in reference to a burglary. So again, I put the date, time, location. I said I responded, and I put the nature of the call or the incident. Okay, police report writing rules. There's 9 of them. Number 1, first person. It's always written from your perspective. I did this. I spoke to this person. I did that. You're never going to say, this person did this, Mary did this. It's not second person, it's first person. Okay, next. Of the 9 report writing rules. 2, active voice, not passive voice. So you want to say, I read the suspect his rights per Miranda, not the suspect was read Miranda. Why don't you want to use the passive voice? Well, the suspect was read Miranda. Who read the suspect Miranda? Okay. Again, I read the suspect his Miranda. Next, Do not make any assumptions. Next, avoid using police jargon. Not that cops don't do it all the time, but don't say, I advise, I observed, I approximated code 4. I told that person, I saw, it occurred at, I was all right, I was fine. Just speak normally. Normal people are going to be reading these reports. You need to speak normally. Details, details, details. You notice I didn't just write 1 details, I wrote 3, because you need to be detailed. You need to be able to take that report and put it back together and create a theater show or a movie from it. You've got to look at it as it is like a script that actors are going to follow. And if actors can't follow it from beginning to end with what really happened, it's not detailed enough. Opinions. There's no place for them in report writing. Period. Okay, past tense in chronological order. So you always write in the past tense. I did this, I did that. And you always write in chronological order from the officer's point of view. So when I arrived, I spoke to the suspect. The suspect told me this. The suspect said they did this, and then they did this. And at the very end, I gave the suspect this, and then I went and looked for that, But you're always writing past tense chronologically. Don't use unnecessary words. Even though I say be detailed, there are certain things you don't need to put. The flowers in front of the house were really nice. Well, unless the suspect tramped on the flowers, you don't need to put that. So make sure you are clear also. You don't want to say the house was messy. What's that mean? You need to be very clear. If you walked in and there was clothes strewn everywhere, there was a mattress laying upside down, there were papers, trash, empty food cartons, doesn't that paint a better picture than the house was messy? Because all of us, what we consider messy could be very different. And that's where we go into vague. All right, 10 common errors in writing, okay? They are directions, spelling, apostrophes, commas, double negatives, homophones, parallelism, pronouns, subject-verb agreement, and verb tense, okay? It's also important to remember the 3 C's. And going back here, because I went over this really fast, 10 common errors. If you have a problem with any one of these and you don't know what a homophone is, or you don't use commas are my big problem. I always forget commas or put them in the wrong place. You need to go study commas. So this is where every student will kind of focus on what they need to focus on. Okay, remember the 3 C's in reading comprehension, that when you read, you need to concentrate, you need to read completely, and comprehend it. How many times have you read something and you were thinking about something else, even though you're reading something, but because you weren't concentrating and comprehending, you didn't remember a thing you read? So that's why it's really important. Take notes if you can, and summarize if you can as well. All right, traffic maps. It's important to remember to review the laws, traffic laws, know basic things. You have to stop. You can't go the wrong way on a one-way street. Basic stuff. And practice them. Practice reading maps. All right, the perfect study plan, like I said, takes 1 year. There's 7 categories. So you can see how if you have to focus on a lot of things, it can take a while. In the textbook, I have included a 1-year study plan, a 6-month study plan, a 3-month, and a 6-week. Obviously, you can modify those as needed, but they really are helpful to get you going on how you need to prepare for the written test, depending on how much time you have. Finally, I know this, you may laugh at this, and that's fine, but I hope you remember it. It's called the superhero mindset. It provides a winning solution for the written test. You put your hands on your hip, you look up. I know, it kind of feels stupid, doesn't it? But you look up and you're like, I'm going to pass this. And you be positive. If you spend the time and you study and you go in there positively, it does help you if you believe you're going to succeed. So get that. Don't be too egotistical, but get that superhero mindset. All right, that's going to end chapter 3. The quizzes that we have are preparing you for the written test. All right, good luck.